Microsoft, which has invested more than $13 billion in generative AI, has released its Copilot for Windows set of tools, as well as its new 365 Copilot for enterprise customers. Was it worth the money? We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of these tools on this episode of Today in Tech. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Today in Tech. I'm Keith Shaw. Joining me on the show today is Preston Gralla. He is a contributing editor for Computer World and the author of more than 45 books on technology topics. Welcome to the show, Preston.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so you wrote an opinion piece for Computer World recently about asking whether the $13 billion that Microsoft has invested into AI, especially OpenAI, was a bad bet, given the experience that you recently had with Copilot for Windows. So let's dig deep into a little bit into this. What were your expectations going into this release of Copilot for Windows?
Well, the expectations are about as high as they can get for almost any product release I've covered in a very long time. And the reason for that is AI has gotten, as we all know, a significant amount of hype since it's been out a year ago. And with good reason. I mean, it can really transform technology. It can transform business. Microsoft's been in the forefront of it. And this is really the first big AI product launch. I mean, it did have Bing, but let's face it, Bing is not Windows. So this is Windows, Microsoft flagship product. And this is how AI is going to hopefully improve it. So I was really looking forward to it. I was hoping for very big things.
Okay. And before I get into your specific comments about your experiences, when you saw the initial press release of all of the different features that you had, did any of them stand out to you as being something that made you say, oh, wow, this is going to be really cool? For example, for me, it was the addition of DALL-E 3 to their Bing image creator, because that was a jump in technology for me, having used the early versions of DALL-E plus Midjourney and some of those other tools. But when I looked at that list, I didn't really see anything else that jumped out at me. But what was your experience?
Well, you're right. And actually, one interesting thing about DALL-E, which is that it wasn't actually part of Copilot for Windows. It is part of the Bing chatbot.
Okay.
And so that was it was great. I mean, DALL-E is really a spectacular piece of AI as far as I'm concerned. I have issues with copyright and what it can do to content creators, but as a piece of technology, it was great.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it wasn't part of Copilot for Windows. It was a separate thing. It was part of Bing.
Okay.
So, I didn't include my expectations for that. And as you say, what Microsoft promised, they didn't promise specific features. What they said was bigger than that. What they said is, this will make Windows more productive and easier to use for you. It will free you from doing all the annoying little things you need to do so that you could be more creative and maybe even intuitive and certainly more productive. So that's what I was looking for and hoping for.
So is it more of all right, well, let's get into your specific experiences. What did you find disappointing about this release? I think, in your article, it was like it landed with a thud, which is a pretty strong statement. So let's go through some of the disappointment that you found with the tools.
Yeah, when I first tried it out, it seemed okay because I started out on very easy, basic things. So first I said to it, change my Windows theme to dark mode. Mm-hmm. And it did. Nice. Now I don't have to click, change it to dark mode. I tried a few other things like that. Same thing, nice little addition, nothing earth-shattering, but nice. But then I started to say, okay, well, let me try a little more difficult things. Something, for example, as simple as connect me to a Wi-Fi network, something all of us do all day long. And it could be annoying. No, it could not. It didn't know how to do it. Instead of connecting me to one of the Wi-Fi networks nearby, or even showed me the Wi-Fi networks nearby, what it did instead was that it used the Bing chatbot to search the internet and then popped up the results. Well, I don't need Copilot for Windows to do it. I already have the Bing chatbot.
Right.
I want Copilot to do the work for me. And the more I tried it, the more it did it. I found very, very few things that it would actually do. It really did very, very little. And so that was incredibly disappointing to me. And it's not just what it did do that was a problem. I mean, didn't do that it was a problem. It is what it did do. For example, I said to it, I'm having I said to it, tell me how to update Windows.
Okay.
Well, instead, it said, let me launch a troubleshooter for you to fix your problem with updating. I didn't have a problem with updating. So it even misunderstood what I wanted to do.
Right.
So this is the weirdest of all, I think, is it would come in with, it would ask me questions, non sequiturs though, having nothing to do with Windows. For example, do you want to hear a joke? Well, is that going to make me productive? I don't know. But if you have a good joke, I'm always up for a good joke.
Uh-huh.
So it said, what do you call a fish that wears a bow tie? I don't know. What do you call a fish that wears a bow tie? Sophisticated.
Oh, boy.
So Henny Youngman, it is not.
Yeah.
And it's not getting a stand-up special on Netflix. And, on and on and on.
And this was unprompted? It just sort of popped up a window and said, hey, do you want to hear a joke?
Yeah. And not only that, unprompted, it said, ask me my name.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, I thought, I know it's Copilot for Windows. I don't, maybe it needs to brag. I don't know. What's your name? And it said, I am Bing. I am Bing's chatbot. And I said, I thought you were Copilot for Windows.
Right.
And it said, no, I am not Copilot for Windows. I am Bing, a Bing chatbot. And so, like, $13 billion, and the AI doesn't even know its own name. So, as you can tell, Keith, I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I could tell. Even this, that reminded me of some of the stuff I can do on my iPhone with Siri, and this is long before you could get it to change the how it addresses you. Like I could tell it, hey, call me Batman. And so every time I talk to Siri, it says, instead of saying, hi, Keith, how are you? It just says, hello, Batman. What would you like to do today? And like that was even pre-generative AI. So for it not knowing who it is or what it is or even a name, just it sounds bizarre. But more importantly to me, it sounds like why I don't want an assistant that's going to be telling me random jokes when I'm just trying to get it to connect to a Wi-Fi signal.
You're right. And so I'm really kind of baffled by it. I talked to my son about it. He's a software engineer, a data expert, all that kind of stuff. And I told him about it. And he said to me, that reminds me of Clippy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any of you out there remember Clippy, but it was a little annoying paperclip, animated paperclip that would pop up whenever you're using Word or Excel or an Office. Hey, can I help you with something? And it was the most annoying, stupid feature there was. And so I realized, is this Clippy 2.0? And then I imagined Microsoft CEO Nadella coming into work one day wearing a T-shirt, and the T-shirt says, I spent $13 billion on Gen AI, and I ended up with Clippy. I mean, that's the level of stupidity that I found in this product. I mean, I know I'm ranting here, but thanks for giving me the chance.
Yeah, I'm wondering if was there a disconnect between maybe what the marketing department is thinking and promoting, and you've got all of these releases and you've got these slick videos that show you all this stuff, but in reality it felt like you weren't able to do anything other than, like, again, turn on dark mode. And was there expectations that it was going to be more of an assistant that could get you to do these tasks automatically rather than just an expansion of Bing? Because it felt like all you're doing is just integrating these Bing searches, and it's giving you lists of instructions and not actually doing it for you.
That's largely what it is.
Yeah.
Now, they did some coding so that it would do, dark mode. It didn't have to go to Bing chatbot for you.
Yep.
And here's, I think, one of the issues. Here's, I think, when it came down to, I actually believe that this was kind of sheer laziness on Microsoft's part. I believe that it's riding the AI wave. It's on top of the world. It wants to keep out a steady drumbeat to show why it's ahead. It's the best. And I think they just got a little arrogant and a little sloppy because they could have done things. I mean, if they had, for example, let's say they had built some APIs. Mm-hmm. And so when you asked, so what could have happened is you would ask it to do something or solve a problem for you, and that could go to the API, and the API would then do it for you. It can be done. It's not like this is too hard for Microsoft to do. Microsoft can do this. For some reason, they decided not to. And the only thing I can think of is two things. One is, like I said, they want to ride the AI wave for all it's worth while they're ahead. They're not necessarily always going to be all ahead, and they want to keep it that way. So I think that's one thing. And the other suspicion I have, no proof, but suspicion is the thing about Gen AI is that it needs training. It needs a lot of training,
okay.
a lot of training. And I am wondering whether it released this thing because it wanted it to get real life training. It wanted to get millions and millions and millions and millions of people asking it questions.
Right.
And then seeing the responses. So I'm kind of wondering whether, because it does call it a preview. It doesn't call it, that's the new game that all these companies have. Oh, it's not the real thing, it's a preview. So even though if it's there, you're going to consider using it. So it may well be that this is not even close to what we used to call a beta.
Yeah.
And that it's so early in its life that once it learns, it'll be good. I don't know that's going to happen.
What did you have to download this, or did this come as an automatic update for Windows 11? It just sort of showed up, right?
Yeah, automatic update. When you update to 23H2, that's the latest version. When you update to that, it pops up, and then it shows up. If you look down at your search bar, it shows up right to the right of the search bar. There's this little icon that it's using for Microsoft uses for all its co-pilots. And if you look closely here, you can see it says PRE, which obviously is short for preview. So, I suspect that, we're all guinea pigs, and it's a way for Microsoft to gather data. I don't know the answer, but it sure feels that way.
Well, the cynical side of me then says, well, they've got this enterprise one coming out, or they've got the Microsoft 365 Copilot. I think that's another one of their problems is they've got 7 different products that are branded as Copilot. But then I start thinking, well, maybe it's because they want to charge for the really good stuff, and that's what the enterprise product will do. And if you're giving this away to Windows users, you're like, let's just give them the little thing so that they can have Clippy 2.0 or whatever they want to call it. Like, do you agree with that, or am I just being too cynical there?
No, you can't be too cynical when it comes to tech. But, I absolutely agree with you. And in fact, that's one of the things I thought as well. It's, let's face it, an AI in Windows is not going to get more people to sign up for Windows. Microsoft has that market nailed down.
Yeah.
It's not going away. It's not changing. And it could build the greatest AI in the world for Windows. I don't think it'll even increase market share by 1%. So I think you're right about that. And you point out something that actually gets a little confusing, which is that so far, it seems to me that in all of Microsoft's AI products, it's going to be a right pane. There will be a right pane that will pop up, and you'll use an AI in that right pane. That's what happens in Bing. And in Windows, if you pop it up, that's what happens in Windows. So I think they're training everybody to get used to this right pane use.
Yeah.
But what they haven't done is integrated it. That's why I think, the AI got so confused and told me it was really Bing, not Copilot for Windows. You know what I mean? So that integration hasn't happened yet. My assumption and hope will be in the long run, whenever you're using a Microsoft AI product, it'll go in a right pane, and it'll be smart enough to know which you are using at that point. And it's also will be a great way of marketing for Microsoft. Oh, you like Copilot for Windows, try it out for this, try it out for that. You know what I mean? So I think it's the very early days, and Microsoft I think, jumped ahead.
Yeah, and aren't they having some pricing issues as well? I think for the 365 stuff, where they're going to charge, I think, $30 per user for some of these features, and there's a lot of companies that are already paying $35 for something else that's even more expansive, and it just seems like you're doubling the cost for a lot of these features, and we haven't even seen whether these things work or not very well.
Yeah, I was really surprised at that $30 price. I completely agree with you there. And And I don't know what they're going to do at this point. It's only for enterprise. They have said in the long run they're going to bring it to small businesses as well. For a small business, you're going to pay you're paying $10 or $15 a person. You're not just doubling it, you're tripling it at that point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm confused about what they're doing with the pricing, except maybe they really do believe that it's so great, everybody has to have it, and that it'll, increase productivity so much that you'll be happy to pay the $30. But I'm gonna, I haven't gotten my hands on it yet because I only get the prices at this point. But I'm not convinced it's going to be really worth the. It sounds great if what they're promising, it could be great. I'm not sure if it's $360 a year great.
Right. And to be fair, I've seen articles of other companies that are struggling to figure out what the pricing for AI tools will be. So it does feel like they're just throwing that at the wall and then seeing who will pay for it, and then maybe they'll adjust it or either raise or lower it depending on the benefits of the tools. I did notice that you used the word pain, P-A-N-E. And I was thinking that there's a joke for your AI in terms of the pain of using this tool. See, that's even funnier than anything that the AI could come up with.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and again, so when I saw some of the videos for either the enterprise version or some of the things that you might be able to do with Copilot for Windows, it's all of these fancy knowledge worker type tasks where you're a knowledge worker and you're in marketing or you're in some other position. You're not a podcast host, for example, and you're in a meeting. So let's say you're in a Teams meeting, and the AI is going to take all your notes for you, and then you're going to ask it summarize those notes and put it into a presentation, and then it's going to go to PowerPoint, and PowerPoint's going to come up with this great little application. It's like 5 seconds. You're going to have a sales presentation, and then you're going to take that and you're going to email it to people, and it's like, wow, that's probably about 17 steps of things that I don't know how to do now. Or if I did know how to do it, I would probably be ingrained. Is that what their vision is? Is that it's supposed to somehow make things easier? But I haven't done any of those things yet. And then this thing's been, at least Gen AI has been around for a year. It's not really making my life any easier at this point.
No, it's not easy. And, what you just outlined was basically the basic promises that Microsoft gives. If it could do all that, it would be worth, not everybody, but for many people, it would easily be worth $30 a month. Team meeting, like you said, summarize it, create a presentation. Oh man, it'll make your life so much easier. You just, I'm having a good day. Do this for me, do that for me. I'm a little bit leery given that they couldn't even get Copilot for Windows to know its name. So,
right.
We'll have to see. But
are you able to ask it to write you an email at this point, or is that under you can only do it if you're in Outlook or if you've got the Outlook plugin enabled?
Well, that would have to be only be if you're a subscriber to Copilot for Microsoft 365.
Right.
That's the kind of thing that does. Windows will never. Well, who knows?
Well, Windows will never write an email for you anyway, right?
Yeah, right. At this point, Windows isn't designed to do that. It's supposed to just make Windows easier, which it doesn't do.
All right. So the biggest issue I have, I know when you were talking about connecting to Wi-Fi, it always seemed like the biggest issue with Windows was just trying to find a printer.
Well,
or connect to a printer, get the printer to work.
Forget it. You could use a troubleshooter, but that exists already. You know what? I'll give you a good example of what happened to me. So after, I wrote a view, then I wrote a review, then a column.
Yeah.
And then I said, I'm not using this thing. Then what happened is I bought a new laptop, and I had a problem with the new laptop with Windows. It would not update to the latest version, 23H2, and I had a problem with Edge. Edge has a really nice VPN that's free, so if you have a hotspot, it'll protect you. I thought, that's great, but it wasn't working. It would not turn on, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna, I'll ask Windows, Copilot for Windows to do it. Now I had to ask it on another computer how to do it because on the computer I wanted to use it on, of course, it didn't exist because I couldn't download it.
Right.
But anyway, all it did was just give me the, search Bing, told me what Bing knew, and that was it. And that brings up maybe the biggest problem with Windows and Copilot for Windows, which is what I described to you, the issue I had was the prime example of why we need a Copilot for Windows. This stuff happens all day long.
Right.
Why won't it update? I don't know. Why won't Edge work? I don't know. I have to search the internet for, I don't know. And a week later, it just happened. It did it by itself. Why did it wait a week? I don't know. I will, so that's what I was hoping for. I was hoping Copilot for Windows would solve those kinds of problems, which it kills us all. I have a desktop that I've had for a year and a half. Every once in a while, the hard disk starts flashing,
Yep.
and it slows down. Why did it happen? I don't know. I asked Copilot for Windows. It doesn't know the answer either. So, let me tell you, if Microsoft had Copilot for Windows that did all that stuff, it would be a dream.
Yeah, you know how much it would relieve all of us people that are the family IT help desk for all of our families.
Oh, yeah.
They always, my kids come in and go, Dad, this isn't working. Do you know why? And, or you get a coworker and they're like, well, how do you do this? Or what do you do that? And it's like, oh, it would be great if there was an AI, but it sounds like the AI is just going to be another one of the people that goes, I don't know. or it's going to go, hey, have you tried rebooting? Like,
right. It hasn't suggested that yet, and that's the best solution for any Windows problem, as we all know. So you're right.
What would be funny is if it just automatically says, well, I figure I'm just going to reboot, and then all of a sudden you've lost everything on your screen, and and then there would be outrage for that. Like, could Microsoft be the company that kills generative AI? And that would be sad. I don't think it will, but and it's fun to talk about this with people that understand the pain of Microsoft. But there's got to be some hope for this, that they're going to turn this around, and maybe we're just not seeing it because we're not seeing the right versions or something. Like, is there hope?
Right. Yeah. Well, like I said before, my it's a weird hope to have, huh? The weird hope I have is that it's using us all as guinea pigs, and that of the millions of frustrated searches we all do, and that. My hope is it looks at all the things that people want Copilot to do.
Yep.
That Copilot can't do, and then it says, okay, that's important. Let's now build that in. So my hope is that it's so early, it's looking for data, it's looking for what's important, is that us, the guinea pigs, and I guess it's nice it's not asking us to pay to be guinea pigs, but maybe that, us, the guinea pigs, will provide the answer, that ultimately Microsoft will analyze the data and figure out what's going on, what should Copilot for Windows really be, and then make it that. That's my hope.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll happen.
Yeah, it certainly isn't going to happen probably soon. It might happen. Would it happen with like a Windows 12 or the whatever the new operating system will end up being called?
They won't need to. They don't have to wait for it. They can build. Because it's kind of a separate thing. They can build it even without waiting for Windows 12. Now, I wouldn't put it past Microsoft to put it only into Windows 12. Say, yeah, you could get it in Windows 11, but if you want the real power, you have to use Windows 12. So maybe that's what's going on.
Maybe that's how they get everybody to upgrade from 11 to 12. Yeah. Or they rename it Windows AI or something like that. And boy,
that's it. I like that better because there are these AI chips that supposedly when Windows 12 comes along, it'll be more powerful because they'll use the AI chip. So that could be.
Yeah. Any other tasks that you tried that just failed miserably?
Oh, everything I tried. I mean, what did I try? Yeah, I said, create a user account. How hard could that be? Couldn't create a user account. I said, and then I started to say, well, I'm going to ask it things I know it can't possibly do because it's so stupid it can't do the basic things. So I said to it, based on a recent article I wrote, how can I delete a second administrator account on my PC? Now, admittedly, there are a few people in the world who want to do that. I happen to know how to do it. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, I know how to do it. I'll ask it how to do it. And so then it sent me into a computer management module, which I don't even want to tell you how to get there because you don't want to get me. But it's an ancient piece of code, an ancient tool built into Windows decades ago. And but it didn't tell me how to actually use the thing. It just said, go there.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
you just have to go there and it'll fix it. And it didn't. So, I mean, it didn't do anything.
Could it be that maybe Microsoft is not developing a tool for people like you and people like me that understand the technology, and they're really aiming this at the grandmas of the world or the new users that just want things to work, but of course then it's not actually working. Like,
right.
Yeah, that.
I mean,
I think I just talked myself out of my question.
Yeah. I mean, how basic can you get? Connect me to a Wi-Fi network.
Yeah.
How do I update Windows? I mean, those are probably things that do confuse a lot of people, and it didn't solve the problem.
Did it have a tutorial or kind of like a couple of screens that say, here's how to use it, or here's the things we know will work?
No. You mean Copilot? How to use Copilot?
Yeah.
No, nothing like that. It's just, talk or type in and get going. And most of the time, like I said, all it did was do a search, like, an AI search, which takes a lot of pieces of information and munges it together to make it more digestible. But that is not Copilot for Windows. That is,
Bing.
as Copilot for Windows told me time and time again, that is the Bing chatbot.
Right.
So actually, you know what? Maybe it's smarter than I thought. Maybe it knew it wasn't really Copilot for Windows. Maybe it had, imposter syndrome, and so it knew that it was really nothing more than Bing's chatbot. I don't know.
Yeah. So in essence, at the moment, it feels like Microsoft just took it had a hammer and it just wanted to look at all the different nails that it could use, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it comes down to.
All right, Preston, I'm pretty sure you're not going to get the next review copy of Windows after this episode.
They don't give out review copies anymore. You
Oh,
gotta
boy.
pay your
Yeah.
fees.
So you have to rely on shows like this to get the real scoop on what's going on.
Exactly right.
All right, Preston, thanks again for joining us on the show and telling us all this. Well, at some point, if Microsoft launches some new things, we'll chat about those products and see if they're actually any better.
Great. Thanks for having me. See you again.
Yep. That's all the time we have for today's episode. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, add any comments you have below. Have you used Copilot for Windows? Let us know, what you think about it. And join us every week for new episodes of Today in Tech. I'm Keith Shaw. Thanks for watching.